In a world of podcasts, one rises in the night to destroy them all. The elder god in an ocean of noise, the Cthulhu of the airwaves. This is Spoiler Country.
Yeah.
So,
But you always have actors say, I'm tired of playing this role, and they move on. You know?
yeah.
How nice is it, Sumner, to be an actor of, say, Robert Downey Jr. or Scarlett Johansson or any of these guys, or Chris Evans, I think is a perfect example. Tired of playing Captain America, gives it up, is moving on to other things. But how nice is it to be able to have that ability where you've just made millions and millions of dollars and you can go, man, I'm done playing this role. I want to try something different. Because there's a part of me that always goes, man, I bet that bus driver that's been driving that fucking bus for 40 years wishes he could do that. You know what I mean? And they get really, I think what doesn't drive me nuts, which always makes me wonder is why they get so indignant about having to play the same role for 5 years.
Well, I think there's a couple of answers to that. I think probably indignance is the wrong word, because I think that's probably a transference of emotion that they don't
Probably.
have. I don't think they're like, fuck this, we're out. People,
It comes out of jealousy, let's be real.
Yeah. People in fan world love to ascribe those kind of emotions.
Yeah.
But I think there's a couple of answers. Number one, if you're an actor, the basic concept of what you do at heart is that you play multiple parts, and being an actor means that you're translating yourself into those parts. In the contemporary era, in the era of television and radio, not in the era of repertory theatre, which had existed in the previous 1,000 years, right? But in TV and radio and movies to a degree, people can have entire careers playing one character if they appear in a soap opera or in a long-running TV show. If you're James Arness in Gunsmoke, 20 years of Gunsmoke, 20 years of Bonanza, you know. And sometimes you get these actors who've gone from male or female, have gone from a very long-running role in one show to a very long-running role in another show. Yeah. And you might have played 2 or 3 characters, or you might have got, you know, Kelsey Grammer playing Fraser Crane across like 20 years in 2 different shows, right? All that stuff.
And they're coming back.
And the thing is, right, the thing about all of that is it's kind of contrary to what one of the basic concepts is of acting is about dipping in and out of things and trying lots of different stuff. Yeah. But also, you know, if you're a working actor on that level, you're in the top 99, you're in the top 0.5% of actors. Right. 99.5% of actors are way less fortunate than you. Do you know what I mean? And you're lucky to be able to do that. But I think when you get to being super lucky and you've starred in a big movie franchise and it's worked out for you, starring in the Marvel movies, starring Star Wars to a degree.
Or even the guy that plays Sheldon in The Big Bang Theory.
Right on. Yes, exactly.
He was done, and that's why they canceled that's why they.
Yeah, of course. And the other guys would have carried on. Yeah. But sometimes with those shows, it is good to end them, and sometimes they do go on for too long. But I think the thing with, particularly when it comes to say like Chris Evans' relationship with Captain America or RDJ's relationship with Iron Man. Yeah. With RDJ, there's an age factor, right? He could technically carry on being Iron Man in the suit, but the guy has earned such a phenomenal amount of money in a deal that will never be replicated, such a phenomenal amount of money from Disney. And also he is getting a lot older, that keeping things up at that pace, it's not that easy. The thing with Chris Evans is, I think that's a particular case of he did everything that's possible with that character and did it brilliantly.
Yeah.
And unlike Thor, where there is more stuff to be told about that, it can carry on being done in a different way. Pretty much anything else he would do with Captain America, unless he comes back in 20 years' time and does old Steve Rogers, or 10 years' time and does old Steve Rogers, anything else he's going to do is a dilution. And I think that's what's driving what he's done. He's not going, fuck Captain America. If you ever see him interviewed about it, it's like, I was really blessed to do it, but I think it's reached a natural end. And I think that's right. And I think if he came and did something now, it'd be like, it would dilute what he'd done. And he's got a fucking load of money to do whatever he wants. But the reality is that cat will probably stay in great shape. So, you know, Chris Evans, age 60, is going to look a lot better than most people.
He probably stays in shape 25. With minimal amount of effort.
Oh, yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
He's a natural athlete, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
I can't do that. I have to really work at it.
Oh, yeah, Christ, mate. It's like my son, for example, is one of those people that if he's got a relatively physical job. He runs a bar. Yeah. If he has a hard working week, he can't keep weight on him. I just don't know what that's like. You know,
Right.
I have to fight for every pound that I lose.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And if I just start eating like a normal person, you know, having lunch and having dessert, having a donut for breakfast,
Dude, I
just
gotta
eating
work
shit that I feel like, suddenly I'm like fucking 14 pounds heavier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't. But I think Chris Evans has said many times, actually, his body doesn't really want to bulk up the muscle. As Cap, he's making himself more muscular than he really is. Actually, he is super fit, but he's got kind of lean athlete muscles,
Right.
not big fucking muscles, right? So I think that's what it is. But I think every now and again, what you then get is somebody who's not right in the forefront of something. But which Loki's not in the forefront of the Marvel universe. He's not one of the big six characters,
Right?
But he's designed to be the character part that drops in, does a lot of fun shit, and drops out.
Yeah.
And therefore, the actor playing him can anchor their entire career to that if they want to. Have the security of playing Loki whenever it's required.
Right.
Then, you know, maybe spending 3 years off and making The Night Manager, doing this, that, and the other, making Kong Skull Island, which is clearly what Tom Hiddleston's model is. And I think that's why he's said what he does. Because he hasn't had to spend the crippling hours, days, month on set that some of the other people have.
Yeah.
And I think also he's very correctly figured out that he would have your classic successful English actor's career if it wasn't for Marvel Universe, which would mean he would constantly be starring in kind of very well-made British TV productions, whether that's Dickens, you know, or contemporary stuff. But that's probably where his career would be pitched. Whereas Loki has made him like an international star, so he's smart enough to keep, you know, hitched to that particular star. So that would be my take on that, Kenric.
See, I knew asking you that question was the right person to ask, because I knew that in my mind that is born some of it out of jealousy, some of it out of not understanding, you know, the mindset of somebody who's in that role. Because like, I just can't even, because I think of blue collar workers that just can't move on to something else. You know what I mean?
100%. And that's most people in the working world.
Yeah. Like, it just must be so nice to be able to go to your boss, because you've made so much. And it really, let's be real. It comes down to making so much money. You have the ability to make that decision, you know, when most people just don't have that ability.
Absolutely.
And they want to start all over and be, you know, it's a totally different mindset.
Yeah. What you have to remember about actors, I think, this is why I'm not keen to compare them negatively to blue collar workers. I mean,
at all.
And we've all got. I've certainly got a ton of blue collar workers in my family, as you know.
Yeah.
You know, and I come from generations after generation upon generation of blue collar workers. But the thing with actors is they've chosen a particular career where most of them walking into that career, even though it's what they love and they want to do, most of them know that they're going to spend their entire lives failing and getting nowhere with it, because the vast majority of actors, over 95%, are unemployed, right?
Yeah.
And are unemployed forever. You know, so you know, they know that, like, to a lot of actors, Pete's success is, I was in the background of that commercial for Taster's Choice coffee. You know, I was the third person laughing at the table in that McDonald's ad.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
that TV show Extras.
Yeah, exactly, and it's all about that.
Yeah, it's all about that. It was amazing.
That's it, gasping for the oxygen of airtime, and that's based on his actual experience. You know, so the reality is that what you got to remember is, if you're going to do a comparison to like blue collar careers, is that's mainly what most actors have. I mean, a really good friend of mine is a successful working actor, and she appears in West End stage musicals. She's got a brilliant voice, and she's always working.
Yeah.
But so she can go from job to job, but it's very precarious. Every job you win on your merits. And for that very successful career, where she's actually been, you know, she's played key parts in big West End shows, equivalent of, you know, because you've got two major theatrical centres in the world. It's Broadway in New York and the West End in London. And she starred in about 5 or 6 West End shows. But in terms of what she's earned, she's earned less than a high-level blue-collar worker would. So you know, anybody who's a craftsman, like a plumber or an electrician, she's earned nowhere near as much money as they have.
Right.
And so the only people who make a shit ton of money acting are the people the rarities at the very top
1%.
of the career. And they're the top 0.5%.
Yeah.
So my point is about actors is they are willfully walking into a career where they are probably never going to make any money ever, and never going to be in a place where they can own their own house, or never be in a place where they can go away on holiday. And they choose to do it anyway because they love it.
Yeah.
Because it's not even that, well, the really successful ones, the really good ones become successful. That's not it. Because, of the 100% of actors, at least 30% of them are actually brilliant at what they do. But of that 30%, only the 29.5% of those people still remain unemployed, irrespective of how good they are. Yeah. So actually,
a lot of luck in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of luck. You've got to be talented, and you've got to be lucky, and you've got to be in the right place at the right time, all at the same time. Yeah. And so they're choosing to do this, knowing that they'll probably spend most of their lives on the dole, working less than the blue collar worker does and earning a lot less because they don't fucking earn any money. Which is why a lot of them, of course, they have 9 to 5 jobs where they work as servers, they work as people behind the till at the grocery, behind the register at the grocery, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's very interesting. So when you do get the odd outlier, the odd person who becomes very successful and they can earn a lot of money, whether it's the top names in the Marvel universe, or whether it's, for example, the dude who plays James Bond, right? Who can't command a lot of money for doing anything else, but for being James Bond, he can command a shitload of money. They are such a massive rarity. I don't even think there's a very accurate comparison. But you're right. But if you are going to compare those people, they're phenomenally fucking lucky. Yeah. And any of this moaning and bitching about the side effect of fame, and that's what I'm talking about for a second, because a lot of them, the thing you hear a lot is, well, yeah, you make a lot of money, but you give up your anonymity, something you don't realize the value of until it's gone. Right. And I'm here to tell you right now that the thing I wouldn't want to be is famous. I've got no interest in being famous. Fuck, if a couple of $1 million landed on my desk, I'd happily pay it into my bank account. Don't get me wrong. Right. But if it came at the cost of being everybody knowing who the fuck I was and my life being under constant scrutiny, that is not a deal that I'd make. Because having interviewed a bunch of these people over the years, and musicians as well, I personally don't think it's worth. I don't want the lives they've got, even though they live in the lap of incredible luxury. You give up so much by giving up your anonymity and privacy.
The thing is when I think about the whole scheme of celebrities, and honestly, I don't really care how famous somebody is, I don't get weird around them. I don't, you know what I mean? They're just another person to me. That's it. Because that's all they are. They just happen to have a job.
Correct, yeah. Which is why you could interview these people, mate.
And that's all it is. But the degree, like Chris Evans or even Robert Downey Jr. to a fact, I think those guys can literally walk down the street and they're going to get people asking for their autograph and something, but they're not going to get mobbed. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was a time some of these pop stars, I think the pop stars have it worse than some of these amazing, some of the other people, because the Britney Spears.
Well, yeah, sure. Britney Spears is the best example of somebody who's essentially imprisoned inside their own life.
Yeah. Well,
Elvis is the same, by the way. Elvis is the same.
Yeah, and the Beatles in the 60s, they couldn't even go outside without getting mobbed. Yeah, sure. The beginning of the Monkees TV show, and they're running, and all the girls and everybody's running after them. Some of those people are legitimately experiencing that. And it's not, they can't even get in their car. It's just
the Monkees legitimately experienced it. I mean, yeah, you do with the music. And so, again, it's such a devil's bargain. Being Elvis Presley, being the most famous person on the planet for a 20-year period, it's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun.
Well, I don't think it's a good thing at all. Personally, I just would never want it.
Right.
Never. This is why I think one of the things that's great was some of the people who have it best, I believe, are people like comic book creators, the ones who've made a lot of money, like the Dave Gibbonses, for example, because he's famous as fuck at Comic-Con for 4 days a year or 8 days if he goes to New York and San Diego. And then he's just a regular bloke the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So he leads a normal life. He can walk down the road and nobody knows who the fuck he is.
voiceover actors.
So I was just about to say exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Perfect amount of fame.
Like being Dan Castellaneta, that is who you want to be. You know, multi-millionaire, the guy who voices Homer Simpson, multi-millionaire voiceover artist.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the fuck he looks like. Yes, exactly.
Bringing it back to Loki, the lady did the clock.
Tara Strong.
Yes.
Tara Strong, and she's one of the Powerpuff Girls. She voiced Harley Quinn for a long time. She's voiced fucking everyone. Yeah, right on. Yeah, I mean, she is like, she's unusually glamorous, by the way, for a voiceover artist. Have you ever like seen a picture of her?
Oh my gosh,
she's quite glam. Yeah. Glam is a euphemism for something else that I won't say in a polite show, you know. But she is an outlier, you know. But I think that's great, you know. Also, being a fucking famous author is brilliant because nobody knows what any famous author looks like, right? You can be as famous an author as you like, but you don't know who the could be. You know, I don't know, Robert Ludlum, whoever. You don't know what the fuck these people look like at all.
Most even Neil Gaiman is only as famous as the convention or bookstore he's at.
Correct.
And then he leaves, and occasionally somebody might see him.
Most film directors, exactly the same thing. You know, for every Steven Spielberg or James Gunn, people who are relatively famous, you know, if you said, okay, Peyton Reed has done all the Ant-Man films, what does he look like? You wouldn't know. You walk past him in the street. Don't know what he looks like at all. And that's most film directors. What's that, Kenric?
Oh, sorry. I think James Gunn could probably walk down the street.
Yeah, because he's got, and even as famous as he is, I think he could. Yeah.
You know what's funny? It reminds me is Bryan Adams. Bryan Adams had a string of hits. The guy is a really good songwriter. I don't like most of his songs, but there's a couple songs that I did like.
He's a brilliant songwriter. I think he's rubbish personally. He's a brilliant songwriter.
His music's rubbish.
I mean, his music's terrible, but he's a great songwriter.
Is not something that I tend to like. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Summer '69, right?
You don't like that song, I take it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I heard it so many times. I'm just like bored with it.
But that's a testament to how good that song is.
Yeah.
You know? But I'm just saying that guy looks like an everyday guy.
Yeah, right. He does.
You know what I mean? He can walk down the street. Here's a guy that has like 4 or 5 #1 hits, which is not fucking normal for any songwriter to have. And you know,
but he looks like a Canadian farmhand, doesn't he? You know,
it's
exactly
hilarious.
Right.
And sometimes I think some of that has to do with it. Even though he's not a bad-looking guy by any stretch of the imagination, he just looks like a normal, everyday guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, every now and again, what you get is a high level of musical talent, you know, married with a kind of spectral physical beauty. You know, Elvis is the best example ever. You know, he looks like possibly handsome, but also unique. He doesn't look like anybody else. Nobody looks like him. Those droopy eyes of his, that whole look, there's nobody else in history who's looked like him.
Conversation took a weird turn. I'm sorry.
This is good because let's get back on track with the Loki show.
Spaghetti! And we're back.
That's right. We are back. Back in the saddle again. Well, I hope you guys really, really enjoyed that as much as we did making it for you. And if you liked what you heard and you want to hear more, you got to go check out Spoilerverse.com, because at Spoilerverse.com, we have a plethora, amazing directors and artists of all walks of life, and editors and writers. And oh my God, are you a lover of comic books like we are? Then there's so many amazing people from the comic book world over at Spoilerverse.com. And I highly implore you to go there and check it out.
Yeah, and while you're there, you can check out all the other podcasts on our network, like Bridges and Geekdoms and Funny Book Forensics and Haphazard Adventures and Nerds from the Crypt and so many more.
Misery
we put out
Point
episodes
Radio.
all the time. Go check all of them out. And check out all of the reviews and previews and articles we have going up every single day for you. Every day on Spoilerverse.com for you to check out and to read and to love and to like and to comment. We have a store link. You want to help support the site? You can do it 2 ways. One, go to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/spoilercountry. Or go to our store link in the middle of the site there and get a t-shirt, a face mask, a hoodie, something, look fly as hell, and help support the site when you do that, because we get $1 or $2. And, you know, maybe you want to talk to us. If you do, you can do it obviously on all the socials, but if you go to scpod.us/Discord, you can join our public Discord server and come chat with us all day long.
I couldn't say it better myself, dude.
There you go.
You just mouthed out a ton of information at once. And really, I hope you guys enjoy what you're hearing, because we're working our butts off to bring it to you.
We are.
I guess there's only one left thing Yeah, I'm going to go with it. There's only one thing left to do.
What's that?
In an oceans of podcasts, we are Cthulhu. As Cthulhu compels you to
open the mind
and read more.
Spaghetti.
Monsters are everywhere. They always have been. They lurk, hidden in every shadow. Behind every dark thought. They are probably in your closet, possessing your friends. And they're almost certainly creeping behind you now. They are most often undetectable. And when they're not, it's too late. Throughout time, these monsters have feasted on society, both physically and metaphysically. The chaos they bring fuels a great dark spirit that seeks to end the world with pain and torment. The Ainz are our only hope. The Ainz family has been cursed since before recorded history to detect the presence of these monsters. It is their bound duty to stop these creatures from destroying humanity through any means necessary, be it by sword, spell, or other. Though the Ainz can feel when the creatures are in close proximity, the monsters themselves are also drawn toward the family. But not everything is as it seems. And although the war between the monsters and the Ainz has waged for centuries, the black and white battle lines have grayed over the years. Not all monsters may be considered evil. Not all Ainz are as righteous as one would think. These are the tales of the Ainz family. Visit AinzAnthology.com to find out more.